Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anselm Richards, and I'm honored today to be with you as we commemorate a very special day for the community of Wolfeboro and the little tiny magical ski hill called Abenaki. This is a wonderful day that's been a long time in the planning. It is great to see every one of you. This event today is being live streamed to Germany, where our friends in Germany are watching us. We say welcome to Germany. And so you know this event also will be recorded and at a later time to be determined will be broadcast in Germany as well as possibly media outlets here in the United States and New Hampshire. So again, welcome. Please rise for the invocation. Tony.
Good afternoon. Today's invocation is based on Proverbs 27:11 and Matthew 18:3, which read in part, "Learn to be wise, my child, and gladden my heart. Become like little children." In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Eternal God, we thank you for this always net positive, overwhelmingly gorgeous creation with the mountains, stars, wind, snow, sweet-smelling, colorful flowers, lakes, oceans, waterfalls, shimmering light on the water, and every incredible, beautiful corner of creation that is each person. Thank you for so cherishing us and forever cascading over us and welling up within us your light, love, and joy. We thank you for lovely Hermann Schütze and the incredible kindness and heart of his family in sharing his cherished piece of his life, his Allgäu skis. May all involved realize your presence and wide smile with regards to this deep love. May we all further gladden your heart with our thoughts, actions, and prayers. All glory, honor, thanks, and praise to you, Lord. In your name, Jesus Christ, I pray, amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Tony. Please remain standing and uncover for the presentation of colors. Please be seated. There are a number of guests with us today, both in Germany and here in Wolfeboro. In no particular order, I welcome all of our guests, in particularly at the federal representative level. We have a letter and best regards from the Honorable Jean Shaheen. I will read her letter momentarily. And Representative Chris Pappas is not able to be with us today. He did send his regards in paper, however, they didn't make it to us yet, but they will be entered into the official congressional record, recognizing the momentous occasion that we celebrate here today. In person, in front of me, we also have the Honorable Glenn Cardelli, the Honorable Joseph Kenny, the Honorable John Donald, and the Honorable Kathy Pertinel. I think that's everyone, right? Great, thank you. So if I may, I'll read the letter from Senator Shaheen. Dear friends, I join you all in a spirit this afternoon at this afternoon's presentation. This event is a wonderful opportunity to highlight the remarkable story behind Dr. Hermann Schütze's 1929 Allgäu skis and reflect on the powerful power of skiing to unite people across cultures, generations, and nationalities. Thank you to the Schütze family, Dr. Stephen Reinfurt, the Abenaki ski team, the Abenaki ski area, and everyone else who played a part in this journey of these skis from Bad Kissingen, Bavaria, to the town of Wolfeboro, New Hampshire. It is also an honor to welcome both virtually and in person our German friends and dignitaries to New Hampshire. Many New Hampshire residents, and just as many visitors to the Granite State, spend their winters exploring our state's trails and beautiful landscapes on a pair of skis. Skiing is our official state sport, a way of life for many people in the region, and a reason why many tourists return to New Hampshire season after season. Yet skiing is not as simply as an outlet to discover the outdoors and to explore the natural world. It also offers a meaningful connection to a variety of people, ideas, experiences, and stories. Skiing can help create a profound sense of community in places like the Abenaki ski area, where countless families since 1936 have grabbed hold of the tow rope and made fast friends skiing down the hill. It can help unite fellow skiers across the world who share a love of this pastime. It can help sustain the memory of someone like Dr. Hermann Schütze, whose prized skis represent an enduring link to a loving husband and father taken far too soon. Every skier who visits the Abenaki ski area will find deep meaning in the story behind these wooden skis. Thank you again to the Schütze family and Dr. Reinfurt for sharing it with Wolfeboro and the Granite State. I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. Sincerely, signed, Jean Shaheen, United States Senator. We will now turn to Germany, as it were, and we will have a welcome from the Dr. Schütze's daughter. It is my privilege to say hello to Frau Hildegard Hilla Christa Schütze.
My name is Hilla Schütze and I come from Bad Kissingen in Bavaria in southern Germany. I am the daughter of Dr. Hermann Schütze. He is the person who we will be honoring in this program today, 80 years after my father's death in the Second World War. I want to send my greetings from here in Bad Kissingen to you in New Hampshire. In one respect, the story that connects us is a sad one, but I trust the presentation by Stephen Reinfurt has a presentation. One day, when Steve Reinfurt and his family lived in our house in Bad Kissingen in Germany, I told him about my father's old pair of skis in the attic. As he was a professional ski patroller and member of a German mountain rescue team in the Alps, the ski story interested him. Therefore, I offered the pair of skis to him to take them home to America as a gift when he and his family left Germany. I know this journey has been real to find the right home that will care for them long after he is gone, and the ski's history is not forgotten. That is how my father's pair of skis got to New Hampshire 70 years after my father had used them. And this gave Steve the wonderful idea you already know about and which we intend to celebrate today. My father's skis as a gift to and on display in Abenaki ski area will remind people of an enthusiastic sportsman who loved his family and we him. They also represent the 1930 of your own ski area's beginning and how your wonderful community has stayed close to their historical roots. Thank you for honoring my father by means of this day and the presentation of his skis. I thank you for doing so. I wish Wolfeboro and their community's precious Abenaki ski area a little hill with a big heart. Many happy and successful winters with a lot of enthusiastic skiers for generations to come. Thank you.
It's my privilege now to introduce our keynote speaker today, a colleague of mine at the United States Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island, in international programs. Commander Daniel Leitze is with us today as a student from Germany. He is here with his beautiful family to help us commemorate this day. I'll briefly share with you Daniel's bio. Commander Daniel Leitze is a student of the Naval Command College class of 2024 at the United States Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island, beginning his school year in July of 2023. After joining the German Navy in 2001, he participated in an exchange program with the French Navy and was graduated in informatics at the French Naval Academy in 2007. In his first tour of duty, he served at sea as an officer of the watch with operations and the executive officer on different frigates of the German Navy. He left the German fleet as XO of Crew Delta of the 125 class frigates in 2021 to deploy as military assistant to the commander of the EU training mission in Mali for 6 months. Commander Leitze graduated from the Admiral Staff Officers course at the German Armed Forces Command and Staff College in 2016 and obtained an additional Master of Arts in Military and Leadership and International Security. As a staff officer, he served as the military assistant to the Deputy Chief of Naval Operations of the German Navy and as a desk officer for the military policy and operations in the German Chief of Defense's office at the Federal Ministry of Defense and the Supreme Headquarters, Allied Powers, Europe. I think that's easy to say, right? Where he was the lead staff officer for implementing and adapting to NATO's new deterrence and defense concept. Commander Letze is married to his wife Inga, and they have 3 very lovely and energetic boys. We welcome Commander Letze.
Thank you, Anselm. That's now the second time that I'm being introduced, and it feels like I'm getting old. Hopefully, my family doesn't think so as well. Let me first address our fellows in Germany. So, ein herzliches Grüß Gott ins verschneite Bad Kissingen, hoffentlich. Es tat sehr gut, einfach mal ein paar schöne Bilder aus Deutschland zu sehen. Und meine herzlichsten Grüße gehen insbesondere an Sie, Frau Schütze, zu Hause. So, please now let me turn back to English. Dear honorable dignitaries, Steve, Gloria, Anselm, without you, I would not be here today. And it fills my heart with warmth, pride, and honor, but also humility to be here and speak in front of you. As a naval officer who basically is not in touch with skiing. But there are 3 reasons why I accepted this offer. And one of them is the amazing story of those skis which travel through time and help us remembering how important it is to build bridges. The second one is a link to my personal history of my family, and I come back to that later on. And the third one is a message that those skis convey into the future for all of us and what we can do for our children to ski freely in this world. So getting back to my first point, I can barely evaluate what the family Schütze's loss of a caring father, a lovely husband, meant. And I can scarcely understand the family suffering in uncertainty during this atrocity period of darkness which Nazi Germany brought upon the world. And with the most profound respect, esteem, and appreciation, I bow myself in front of family Schütze, who hope for Dr. Schütze's return from war for such a long time. And over time, the shining light emitted by his precious skis, which transformed them from a, let's say, simple but back then really sophisticated sports tool into a symbol of hope, peace, forgiveness, and remembrance. And as a second thought, I would enlarge the context to my own family, because the skis are not important only to family Schütze, they are important to many other German families who suffered a similar destiny, just like the history of my grandmother, and her brother, who lost their father, an army captain, in the useless struggle for Stalingrad. And it is in Stalingrad that another German medical officer had drawn the Stalingrad Madonna, which after the war became a symbol for peace and reconciliation. And it carries 3 simple but potent words to my mind, which are light, life, and love. But what are words? Words are basically nothing. It is through actions of the families Schütze and Dr. Reinfurt that these words materialize. Through Dr. Hermann Schütze's pair of skis, light is carried from the past into the future. Through the commitment to life after darkness, the family Schütze kept those skis to remember a husband and a father. And it is finally through love and charity towards former enemies that these skis have crossed borders and left their home for a new country, in trust towards new friends who will honor them here in Wolfeboro. And they are a well-chosen token. They endure from the past into the future. The skis tell a story of falling when trying them on for the first time, and a tale of rising again and mastering the snow-covered hills. For myself, as a naval officer and an amateur in skiing, I'm not an expert and probably not like Dr. Hermann Schütze was back then. I know the sea, and like snow, it can have some ugly surprises, and that suffering the elements is part of passion and necessary for growth as well. And as a student at the Naval War College, we live on a larger scale what the families Schütze and Reinfurt paved some 30 years ago. At this noble institution, we develop relationships through partnerships and develop them into friendships. We overcome prejudices, listen to our peers with an open heart, and let supposed opponents become respected friends to avoid anything as atrocious as World War II ever happening again. But being united, we also deter potential competitors, that we are ready to stand by each other if necessary. So these skis therefore testify for me that despite the darkness which Nazi Germany brought over the world, strong and engaged individuals with hope as a guiding light, love in their hearts, and a commitment to life and reconciliation can and will support our values for freedom. So now looking to my third point, looking at today, I just have a simple request. I encourage everyone looking at those keys in the future to think about what we can do to prevent another dictate of darkness and to enable all of us and our children to enjoy skiing in the present and the future across the globe. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. We will now have remarks from a few of our local reps who are assembled. The first of which is from the Honorable Glenn Cardelli. Sir?
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here today, and important, I think, for all of us to hear the story of these skis. And isn't history itself about stories? This afternoon, it will be a touching story about these skis, of family, of hardships, of war, but also generosity, courage, and friendship between peoples. It's a story that travels across 94 years, but is really timeless. And I'm not even an amateur skier. My skiing story lasted a few minutes. First time going up on the rope tow, falling on the rope tow, and I remember having people crash into me coming up the rope tow behind me. So that's my skiing adventure. But it's very proper and fitting that these skis come to New Hampshire and to Wolfeboro and Abenaki. New Hampshire has many firsts when it comes to skiing, and it has the oldest continuous operating ski club in North America here in Carroll County. We have also, in 1939, a North Conway businessman in Germany convinced the Nazi officials to release an Austrian skiing legend, who then came to North Conway and transformed North Conway into an epicenter of ski instruction. And 1939 is a date you will hear in this story also. And Abenaki, history there, one of the oldest ski areas in the country, and the oldest rope tow. I know I had to get the rope tows in there. But it's important that this is a community ski area. The fact that it is a community ski area, what does that really mean, though? It means that the slopes are affordable compared especially to other ski areas, but it means that young and old alike can utilize this ski area, generations. Talk to people around this area, and you will hear stories about parents teaching their kids to ski at Abenaki, about generations skiing together. And with the problems we face around the world today, isn't community so important to us? The Surgeon General of the United States has said that loneliness is our greatest public health crisis. Communities provide a sense of belonging. Communities mean devotion, caring, sharing from one generation to another, a sense of identity and roots in us in a larger narrative, connecting us to those who come after us from generation to generation. And isn't that what we feel in Wolfeboro and this area and at Abenaki. In the future, when you visit the lodge and see the skis above the fireplace, they will symbolize community and friendship between peoples, but also ensure that this story continues to be told for generations. While this presentation today won't change the world, it is a cumulative effect of these small actions like today, small acts of kindness, small gestures, and seemingly minor decisions that accumulate and create significant positive change. Mother Teresa once said, "I alone can't change the world, but I can cast stones across the waters to create many ripples." Today, we are casting a stone across the waters.
Thank you, sir. Our next presenter will be the Honorable Joseph Kenny. Sir.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good to see everyone here today on this important occasion. On behalf of the New Hampshire Governor and Council, which really consists of 5 counselors who co-administrate the state of New Hampshire with Governor Sununu, I want to thank Dr. Steve Reinfurt of Stratford, New Hampshire, for asking me to speak here today on this historic occasion. Today, the town of Wolfeboro and the Abenaki ski area, with great pride, are going to accept the Schütze family's 1929 Allgäu skis to be placed over the fire chimney at the Abenaki Ski Lodge. The state of New Hampshire joins in on this celebration. I also want to welcome our German friends and others who are part of the online streaming program, witnessing the heartfelt and historic ceremony. In particular, I want to say hello to Hilla, Dr. Schütze's daughter. This day is really a day of diplomacy, a day of remembrance, a day of peek into our own New Hampshire ski history, but more importantly is the story of an incredible German family who endured World War II and remained positive throughout the most challenging times. Our New Hampshire ski history is completely influenced by our European friends from Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Norway, and France. Hans Schneider, Meister of Austria, which Len had referred to, popularized skiing in the Mount Washington Valley and beyond with his Alberg techniques. Now, I guess that's a technique where you kind of do the snow plows. You're starting out as a kid, and you kind of go left, you go right, and eventually you parallel ski, and then after that, you become an Olympic champion. So that's the process as I understand this technique. And in 1939, he was an outspoken critic of the Nazi regime. He lost his ski school in Austria and was imprisoned. And I got to imagine if he had ever met, Hermann Schütze, that those two would have been peas in a pod. It was because they loved their country, they did not love the regime, and they loved skiing. And it's too bad they never met. Luckily, Mr. Schneider was exonerated through his efforts of American Harvey Gibson businessman, and he came to North Conway in 1939 to open up a ski school. He started as the father of modern skiing. His son, Herb, who I knew, served in the American 10th Mountain Division during World War II. And that division helped build the ski area, not only in the East Coast, but in the Midwest with the veterans that came back from World War II. And he owned Cranmore Mountain for 20 years. The first ski school in America was established in Sugar Hill at the Sugar Hill Inn. This was established by Austrian-born man named Sig Buckmeyer. In his first year, he hired 2 German ski instructors in 1930 to start the school. And in the 1920s, the Dartmouth Outing Club in Hanover constantly brought European theories and practices of skiers from abroad from Europe. A Berlin ski club, which started in the late 18th century by Norwegian immigrants, and the nascent ski jump in Milan, the largest of its kind in 1936 at 80 meters, is named after Fridtjof Nansen, of Norwegian, who skied across Greenland. Today, the local club in Berlin is named the Nansen Ski Jump. And if you ever go up there, it's quite a ski jump. I've been to the top, and if you look down, you'll never want to go back up. Middelsill at Cannon Mountain is based off the European chalet village concept. It looks very European when you go into Middelsill. Yes, there have been many other examples of European influences in New Hampshire within the ski industry, and we can't thank our European friends for their theories, trainings, equipment, because all of this really helped produce American champions like Michaela Scheffrin of Lyme, New Hampshire, Bodie Miller of Easton, New Hampshire, and Penny Puteau of Laconia. All of these were Olympian champions. Our European friends gave America the gift of skiing, and we thank you for that. I want to thank the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen and the Abenaki ski area for their support to embrace the Schütze family heirloom. As someone who has grown up in New Hampshire and represented over 25 ski areas on the Executive Council, I have witnessed the closure of many small ski mountains. There was one ski mountain that I actually learned how to ski, Moose Mountain in Brookfield, that shut down. Copper Crown ski area shut down in Wolfeboro. Mount Whittier ski area in West Ossipee shut down. There has been an opening and closing of Mount Eustis up in Littleton, and the announcement that Black Mountain ski area in Jackson that might close in the future. Luckily, the second oldest ski area in America, Storrs Hill ski area in Lebanon, it still continues today. Small ski areas in New Hampshire are important to our state, and they provide a connection to our families who enjoy the outdoor winter sports and year-round activities. The Friends of the Abenaki group and the community have done a tremendous job keeping open the Abenaki Ski Lodge and other activities open year-round while creating memories for our local families and visitors. It's through the community commitment and spirit the Schütze and Reinfurt families identified a true home for the Hermann Schütze skis. World War II had a tremendous impact on all of us. I am a son of a World War II veteran who served in Germany, France, and Persia with the U.S. Army. My father was from a large family who owned a farm in Concord, Massachusetts. Unbeknownst to me until recently, the siblings, or my older siblings, or I should say my father's siblings, housed German prisoners who worked on the farm during World War II. I recently discovered at the same time my second cousin, Robert J. Kenny's dad, a U.S. Army officer, was captured as an American POW during the Battle of Mortain, France. Robert's dad spent 10 months as a POW while working on a German dairy farm owned by Peter Drexel in Neustadt, Germany. Later, he was released after the end of the war. I guess the moral to the story is, regardless of what side you're on, prisoners do make good laborers on each other's side. I'm sure Dr. Hermann Schütze felt at the time he was a prisoner of war too. He was a successful physician, family, and businessman who was caught up in the German regime and the war he did not believe in. As you might know, he was a doctor who was drafted into the Luftwaffe, the Nazi Germany's Air Force. He cared about people and his family, so he went. Because of his opposition to the National Socialist Party of Germany, he was later sent to the Eastern Front against the Russians. Now, if anybody knows about the Eastern Fronts during World War II, towards the mid part of the 1940s, Germany suffered 80% casualties in the totality of the war. That was not a fun place to be. And that's where our friend ended up. At the end of August 1944, Hermann was never seen again. The donation of the Allgäu skis by the Schütze family represents the perseverance of the human spirit and its triumph over evil. These skis are a testament of the Schütze family's love and memory of their father, the tragedies of war, and the continued hope for peace in honor of their father. The state of New Hampshire thanks the Schütze family for placing love over evil, and we will forever cherish these skis and the eternal message of hope and love. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our presentation today will be by no stranger to anyone in this room, a person without whose influence and love and compassion and steadfast perseverance, we'd have a free afternoon. But because of you, Steve, thank you. So Dr. Stephen Reinfurt will...
I want you to know I wore my best shoes just for you. My boots have traveled a long ways to get here and to look across a sea of really dear people that have been in my world over the last couple of years. I'm going to come closer so that I can move with this. Over the last couple of years, we've all gotten to know each other. I came quietly into your community to look, to see, and to feel. All of those things were accomplished. I came from the north, from a really unique operation up there of what takes place in a corporate environment. But there was something happening here in community that kept me a little bit longer to see a little bit more of what was going on. Today, what we've discussed, what we've shared from the eloquence of each one of these people, Daniel, thank you for your representation from Germany. Thank you for the stewardship of our leadership that's here today that represents New Hampshire's finest. Thank you. We have a special story, and I know a lot of you have come. You might have already read some of it in the newspaper, but what I have to share with you today is a little bit more personal, close up front. Be glad to answer any questions after the fact, but I have one thing to do before I start it, and that is, over 48 years, I've done missions over 50 years, but over 48 years, there's one person in this room that has been with me on every mission, and that's my dear wife. Thank you, Gloria. We all know why we're here. We're here for the commemoration of a very dear gentleman and a pair of skis. Uniquely enough, let's find out what that story is in another dimension. If we could have the house lights, please. Thank you, Scott. Let me take you on a journey where a pair of 1929 Allgäu skis represent moral conviction, a love for family, a role in skiing, and shared patriotism across the continents. You already have a feel for that today for who's with us. We will transcend the gates of life in a Bavarian town. Both life and death will take place. The German Alps, World War II, and end by giving a gift and receiving a gift of love. Hermann Schütze was born on December 14, 1908, in Bad Kissingen, Germany. He was the son, the grandson, and the great-grandson of 3 generations of doctors, and destined to become the 4th to practice medicine. In 1929, as a medical student, Hermann purchased a new pair of wooden Allgäu skis with original Lettner metal edges. He skied throughout the Bavarian Alps. His smile could always be seen anywhere he was on the slope. If you can see it right now, you know who he is. Making fast turns with style, being as a happy Hermann. All skiing was just a short drive from his university in Munich, Germany, a place that multiple people in here have been to for multiple reasons. In the winter of 1933, Hermann won first place in the Allgäu Ski Association slalom with these skis. Little did he know that they would be the last skis he would ever own in his lifetime. Now let's see how this fits together with Prince Regentstraße in Bad Kissingen, Germany. There's Bad Kissingen. We're getting a little closer. The blue dot marks a historic clinic in Bad Kissingen. The red dots mark a nowadays map of the clinics and the hospitals around the blue dot. But in Hermann's time, there were more red dots because it was truly an area of spa and clinics and hospitals. We have arrived at the Schütze family clinic and home purchased in 1910 by Hermann's parents. In those days, the doctor and his family lived in the clinic where he serviced his patients. Herr Schütze, Dr. Schütze and his wife, Hermann's mom and dad. As their only child, Hermann was destined for success. Hermann's father was a radiologist specializing in diagnosing and treating injuries and disease with medical imaging. For our young people in here, x-rays of today. Hermann's goal was to follow in his father's footsteps. As a side note, and I know Hilla will probably chuckle in the background, the first time we saw this particular picture, we realized we were standing in our living room that we will eventually visit in this story. And this is where our tender story actually unfolds. Hermann graduated with honors from medical school, married the love of his life on April 4th, 1938, and returned to manage the clinic. His Allgäu skis were put away with care, waiting for their next adventure. Unfortunately, they would stand ready for 85 years. Wiltrid and Hermann's love was real. Hildegard Christa and Manfred Dieter, born 8 weeks early on December 5th, 1938, would spend 5 weeks in the hospital, only 300 meters from their family home and clinic. And when they returned home, they were taken directly to their grandfather, who was ill from a complication that he had received in World War I as a physician. He would bless them and pass away shortly thereafter. Manfred and Hilla, 2 incredibly special people. They would live together their entire life from the outcome of this whole experience. They would never marry. They would never have children. They would never become doctors. They would never learn to ski. But yet, against all odds, they became 2 of the most remarkable human beings you'd ever want to meet. In the beginning, life was good. Their family and medical practice was growing. What changed such happiness? In January 1939, an official letter arrived. Dr. Schütze was conscripted to serve as a military physician, which meant closing his private practice. Refusal was not an option. Silently, Hermann did not support the Nazi Party and their leader. He complied, hoping for a quick return to his family. His first duty station was Paris, France, just under 600 miles from his family. Thereafter, Dr. Schütze's political differences became known because the party had many ears, and it resulted in him being moved to less attractive assignments. 1940 to 1941, he was put at an outpost location, Normandy, France, a name that means something to many people in here. You can still see that smile is there. Hermann rode off, and his family was his only hope. He would visit them only a few times on military leave over the years. In this particular set of pictures, I want you to look at one particular picture, the two children at the doorway. There's a young person, it's Hilla. She's reaching up to the doorbell. We're going to revisit this door many years later together. Her little brother, Hermann, her twin, is right to the left. Today, Hilla has every letter he ever wrote, as well as his favorite childhood bear. In the summer of 1943, the twins' mother passed away due to a rare blood disease. She was 27 years old. The twins would later share with us they really felt she died of a broken heart, but who wouldn't? A very unique time period that has many feelings for many people. Grandmother, who had survived World War I as a girl, now was a common grandmother. She was doing uncommon things to help the twins survive the unfolding of World War II. She started by writing Nur für dich, only for you, a journal for her son about the twins' daily activities, hoping to give it to him when he came home. He would never receive it, but Hilla would publish it in 2019. Grandmother used Hermann's skis and boots to help the twins remember how tall father was, how big his feet were. They played in his boots, and the skis became the persona of him watching. These are the boots of the Arab, but they're not Hermann's boots. Those were traded one winter because the boots were warm and they needed food. D-Day, June 6, 1944, Normandy, France. The 1st Infantry Division goes ashore. My father was in that first wave, survived miraculously, and never spoke about it. My mother was on a medical relief ship that would eventually offboard the field hospitals, and she would be behind in the front lines, approximately 2 clicks, moving with the frontline troops, with the medical field hospital units. My mom and dad had been, for a year and a half, from their upstate New York location in Hoosick Falls. They had been engaged, but they both took time out from that endeavor to serve their country in another way. At the end of the war, when it finally finished, they were one of the first couples to be married in Frankfurt, Germany. Hermann's final letter to his mother was dated June 23, 1944, sharing his love and that he was being sent to the Russian front. Forget-me-nots are a very real flower for many people. On April 8, 1945, the Bad-Kissingen surrendered peacefully to the elements of the 3rd Infantry Division. Although there were some sharp fights by the surrounding towns and there was no fighting in Bad-Kissingen as the war ended, if you remember all those hospitals, in that location there were over 2,000 German military that were being convalescent for the time period of their injuries in this location. The American Army took over the process of helping them become well and helping them get home. But something takes place just before that, as the military presence remained till 2006. Prior to the U.S. military's arrival, grandmother had a premonition. She hid the heirlooms with the skis in the attic. Her foresight was correct, but they were put to the street to find other refuge when their home was commandeered by the U.S. to be a U.S. officer's headquarters. She would get the house back 11 years later in the winter of 1956. It was empty, left in poor condition, but the hidden items were still exactly where she had put them, including the skis. For the rest of her life, grandmother's only 2 objectives were to care for the children and find her son. She started the missing action paperwork that is still an open official case by the Bundesarchiv military in Berlin, still in 2023. He's unaccounted for. She passed away in 1957 with the twins at her side. From 1990 to 2008, my family rented an apartment in the Schütze Villa because we were actually working in conjunction with the military concern that was still there up to 2006. We shared numerous events and memories with them. Their family became ours, and our family became theirs. Salva is one of them. For those that know their Latin, In this context, it means welcome. This is actually if you come through those front doors where you saw the little girl reaching up for the doorbell, that's the mosaic on the floor. In Hilla's kitchen one morning, I asked her, Hilla, why is it that you would have allowed and been so welcoming to have an American family come over your threshold and live in your home after my country took your home for 11 years? She didn't even hesitate in her response. Stephen, such as war. Your country liberated us. Your country did take our home, but you gave it back. My country, on the other hand, political party at the time, took our father. And because he didn't have the same beliefs, would never give him back. She understood the difference, held no grief to the first. Manfred was tenderly brilliant. Everything he did, if he touched it, it grew. If he drafted it out in a concept of something that he was going to build, make, or design, it became an end product. He could take something large and make it down into a 1/10 scale and perfect. All of his beautiful things that he created ended up in museums. They were that wonderful. Every time I got together with him, there was heavy looking on because this guy was learning constantly from an older brother. On his funeral announcement on February 19, 2004, at the very top, there's a beautiful prose about moving from one life to the next as we move through this life. But at the bottom, there's a statement. And then on that Germanic statement, Hermann was never far from his children's hearts. Hilla asked if one wished to donate for something in Manfred's remembrance to consider the War Graves Commission. Every country has one. And the twins understood the International Commission's policy to guard the memory of victims of war and violence, to work for peace among all nations, and guarantee dignity of men and women. As an officer's son myself, I know what this means, as my military parents are buried side by side. Andy, thank you for this slide. They're only a few miles from here in Boscawen Veterans Cemetery. I can visit them anytime we want, and we do, as a way of remembrance. Joe and Mary were side by side. As for Hilla, she continues to be recognized for her wonderful accomplishments. In this particular photo, she has been entered into recently the Hall of Fame of Bodkissigans, whose history goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. She's earned every place where she is. Daily, she is an ambassador and a historian of Bodkissigan, the town she's known all her life. The man on the left is the author of a brand new book on Bodkissigan. You could say to yourself, what would be new? It's constantly evolving for all of us. And in this place, he found something, and the story is there. The man on the right is acting as a Kaiser during a time period of a festival. You can see the sense of excitement in this location. Hill was an ardent collector of children's toys and books from around the world, and to date, she has donated all of hers and Manfred's unique collection to numerous museums. In short, Hill is a protector of the past, the present, and the future. A respect for others is evident by her global service. In 2008, Hilla gifted her father's skis to me. She's already told you how, when, and why that's taken place. But with that, the day I stood at these front doors, which is the front doors to my home, where every day I walked over Salva, I was standing with the little girl who is now my oldest sister at a very historic home and clinic that blessed us more than once. And with that in my heart, I knew that these skis needed a resting place worthy of Hermann's love for family, community, and skiing. But it needed to be a setting where future generations would be able to recall the man that actually skied them. So I began my quest. Little did I know that it would take me just short of 15 years to find you guys, and I can't thank you more. Until one day I finally heard about a historic little hill and went to investigate. Walking into the Abernathy Ski Lodge, I began learning about the hill's history starting in 1936. In a goosebump moment, I beheld an empty space above the fieldstone fireplace mantel. Something was missing. Passing Wolfeboro's Wright Museum of World War II, my Venn diagram intersected perfectly in the middle. Bingo! Abernathy was the place. I had no further reservation. Wolfeboro's town selectmen formally approved the gift for the Abernathy ski area on October 4th, 2023. November 5th, 2023, three ski brothers unveiled the gift. The vintage guru of knowing the past and his love for his skis, which is Walden Green, holding them in the first photo. And Sam DeBeer, cutting with love's attention, is the one that is in the second photo at the bottom. The inspection that took place was tender. Together, we carefully cleaned, inspected, and rehydrated the skis, the leather, and the poles. We rated the skis a 9 out of 10 for overall condition because of being bound correctly for 85 years. The poles received a 10. You take one look at them at the fireplace, they speak for themselves. You would ask, why was 1 point missing? There is one small strap over one binding toe that is not there. And Hilla, if you ever remember that story, we want to know it because it must be a very special story. Our ski review unfolded. The ski brand was Marcus Ericsson, made in Oslo, Norway. 1928 series called Sugar Cubes Tips. Ski wood hickory. Length 225 centimeters. Ski sole painted with nitrocellulose lacquer. Original Lentner metal edges, but we believe they might possibly have been aftermarket. Kandahar bindings, metal toe plate with leather straps, and metal locking spring heels. The Eckel ski poles, made of bamboo, metal, and leather. On that day, 3 generations were the changing of the guards. I was stepping away from the skis and hold the furthest position from them, but I gave them to a young man in this room. That's mom and dad started on this hill with other committed parents that are in this room today to be able to create one of the greatest little ski programs there is in New England. And I'm saying New England. And on this day, the boy that grew up on this hill as a little boy is now holding an oldest pair of skis. And when he first came, he said, I really don't understand what today is. But when we left, Sam, I'm looking across the room. You did understand. Yeah. Walton in the middle with the poles has 3 girls that are all skiers, both alpine and cross country. But he continues to expose them to vintage skiing as well so that they do not lose the history. And for myself, with the snow in my hair, I still have a few more miles left in my boots. Abernathy Ski Area was chosen because it's the oldest community-run ski area in America with a rich history, known for being a little hill with a big heart. A final resting place worthy of Dr. Hermann Schütze's love for his family, community, and skiing. 1929 Allgäu skis gifted to the Abernathy ski area by the Hermann Schütze family of Bad Kissingen, Germany, on this day, December 2, 2023. That plate resides just at the bottom of the skis. You could ask yourself, what do you take away from this? Well, the one thing you do is what you all have in your own heart. You now have a story that's been transferred from one person to another. And to keep it alive, we understand first that Hermann has a forever home. He's not lost. He's been refound, reestablished, rededicated, and reappreciated in the love that was given by his family constantly by a greater family of mankind. And that's part of our gift back to Germany. But here today, there's another gift. The skis reside over the fireplace as they had been seen in their first position. Something was missing. Please don't look at this picture. Go see the skis because they are awesome. They're singing and their presence says thank you. But there's a final note in all of this. The man that we met skiing down the slope that once knew this has one final gift to give. And that gift, you will see it, but it is meant for only one person in this room, as all of us are witnesses to it. And that is a father's love to his daughter. In closing, what lies behind you and what lies in front of you pales in comparison to what lies inside of you. Thank you, Ralph Waldo Emerson. This mission was accomplished, obviously, by a remarkable team of exceptional people who made Hermann's love a reality, because I believe all of you have a special love that you carry for why we're all here together. Thank you to all of you, and God bless you.
So thank you, Steve. Not to continue on, but what a remarkable story. So in closing, there's nothing that I could say that we have not already heard today. We've heard a remarkable story of family, of friends, of love, of perseverance, of service to one's country, of doing the right thing, that which arguably we take for granted every day. And we're very fortunate to take it for granted. But what I would say, as I said earlier, we would not be here without you, Steve. So thank you again. You just received a standing ovation, and we're not going to make people stand up again. But what you have done, and Gloria, and for your girls for sticking behind you, is truly amazing. Your perseverance and your steadfast conviction to making this reality is volumes to your character and for your gift to the town of Wolfeboro and Abenaki. So it's humbling for me to say thank you, but on behalf of everyone, thank you for what you have done in making today a memorable occasion. So that's all I have to say about that, to quote Forrest Gump. There are refreshments outside in the lobby. I hope to see everyone there, and thank you very much.